If the multiverse exists, can it send us signals? Let's find out the top 10 terrifying signals from parallel universes that scientists can't explain. Before that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss out on some amazing facts. 1. Mandela Effect. Named after Nelson Mandela, the Mandela Effect occurs when a large number of people believe something to be one way but it actually turns out to be another. In our reality, he passed away in 2013, but some folks vividly recall him dying in prison in the 1980s. The theory behind the Mandela Effect involves parallel universes, multiple universes, each slightly different from the other. Sometimes, it's suggested that our memories might somehow cross over from these alternate realities, creating this confusion. Some even link the Mandela Effect to CERN's Large Hadron Collider experiments, suggesting that their high-energy atom smashing might have caused some temporal disturbances. 2. The Green Children of Woolpit. This signal was spotted in Woolpit, England, when a brother and sister mysteriously appeared out of nowhere in the 13th century with greenish-tinted skin. They didn't speak any language that the villagers could understand, and their clothing was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Nevertheless, a local landowner, Sir Richard de Caen at Wilkes, accepted the children. The kids kept refusing to eat any food that was offered to them until the villagers finally brought some freshly harvested beans, and the kids gobbled them up. For many months, they only ate beans to survive before developing a taste for bread. Sadly, the boy fell ill, and he eventually passed away. But the girl began adapting to her new surroundings. She started eating regular food and gradually lost the greenish hue of her skin. In time, she even learned to speak English. Later, she claimed that she and her brother hailed from a place where folks had green skin and the sun didn't shine as brilliantly as it does here. When they were tending to their father's livestock, they stumbled upon a cave and walked through the darkness until they heard the ringing of bells. When they emerged from the cave, they were bathed in blinding sunlight, and that's when they were found by the bewildered reapers in Woolpit. 3. The Man from Taured. Back in the 1950s, at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, a well-dressed man strolls in, but when asked where he's from, he answers, Taured, a place that didn't exist on anyone's map. Instead, he points to where Andorra should be. This made the customs officers see the red flag, detaining him in a nearby hotel with 2 guards stationed outside. However, the guy vanishes overnight from his hotel room, along with all his documents, leaving no trace of his existence. To escape such intense surveillance is physically impossible. Stories suggest that he might have slipped into our world from a parallel universe, and it can be true that Taured is a real place but in a different universe. 4. Highway in Seville. On November 9, 1986, Pedro Oliver Ramirez, while driving from Seville, experienced interdimensional travel. After following his regular route, he suddenly found himself on a strange 6-lane highway he had never seen before, surrounded by unfamiliar tall buildings and a completely altered landscape. As he continued, he felt an unusual heat in his vehicle and heard distant voices that seemed to suggest he had crossed into a different hemisphere or dimension. Lost and confused, he followed road signs but somehow ended up right in front of his own home. A journey that should have taken a fraction of the time had stretched to 3 hours and 5 minutes. In fact, Ramirez's car had consumed fuel equivalent to a 200-kilometer trip. Despite his attempts to find the mysterious highway again, he was unable to do so, leading him to believe that the portal to that other dimension had closed forever. 5. Stone Forest in Peru. One day, a group of women went camping deep in Peru's stone forest. While camping, they heard music coming from the woods and followed it. Soon, they found a little stone cabin, all lit up with torches. When they peeked through the windows, they saw people inside, dressed like they just stepped out of a history book, as they were dressed in 17th century fashion. One of the friends got super curious and tried to go inside, but was instantly pulled back by the other girl, leaving the half of her body paralyzed that had crossed the threshold. No one could really explain it, even the doctors, who called it an unknown affliction. They think maybe it's like she stepped into an anomalous zone that altered the flow of energy in her nervous system, causing the paralysis. 6. Déjà vu. Déjà vu, that eerie feeling like you've been there before, is a mystery that still baffles scientists. One idea is that déjà vu might be linked to our brain's memory area, but it's not proven yet. Another intriguing theory suggests that déjà vu happens when different versions of ourselves in parallel universes sync up for a moment. Think of it like tuning a radio to a specific frequency. Parallel universes are like stations on different frequencies. Sometimes, they align briefly, and you get that feeling of, didn't I just do this? It's like you did it in a parallel universe, and for that moment, your worlds synchronized. 7. Garcia. Imagine waking up one day, and everything seems off. That's what happened to Lorena Garcia in 2008 when she was 41. At first, it was just her bed sheets being different, but things took a wild turn when she got to work. Her office had shifted to another department, and she was reporting to a director she didn't know. Even her boyfriend vanished into thin air, and her ex was back in the picture. She visited a doctor who said it might be stress, but she didn't buy it. She even hired a detective to find her missing boyfriend, but with no luck. It's like she jumped into a parallel universe where her life was flipped upside down. 8. The phone call. Let's talk about the phone call. Imagine you're at work, and your dad calls your phone. But just a few minutes ago, you called him, and he couldn't understand you, but he knew it was your voice, and you sounded upset. What's odd is that he heard you using those pet nicknames you usually use. He thought something might be wrong with the dogs. But you didn't actually call him. You try to explain, but he doesn't believe you. Later, when you meet him in person, you prove that the last time you dialed him was 5 days ago. But the mystery deepens because his phone shows an incoming call from your number, and it lasted about 3 minutes before ending. Plus, the person on the other end sounded just like you, and they even knew the pet names. Was it a parallel universe mix-up, or had someone pulled off an uncanny phone impersonation? It's freaking you out already? Wait a minute. Another Reddit tale goes as follows: my parents are divorced, and my dad came to pick me up. My mom was ill, so he called her, but they couldn't hear each other, so he hung up. Then, in about 20 seconds, both I and my dad got calls, but from different numbers. It's mom on both lines. She sounded the same, but the numbers were different. My dad and I exchanged bewildered looks, wondering if we were both losing our minds. As we talked to her, she's saying two different things simultaneously. So, what's the explanation? Some Redditors think it's a temporary reality slip or merge. But who knows the truth? Not me, definitely. 9. Stephen Hawking's. Black holes are these cosmic vacuum cleaners that suck in everything, even light. For the longest time, it was thought that once something went into a black hole, it was gone forever, destroyed into nothingness. But Stephen Hawking, one of the most brilliant scientists ever, along with colleagues like Andrew Strominger and Malcolm Perry, proposed something astounding. Instead of destruction, black holes could be cosmic bridges to parallel universes. However, if you jump into a black hole, you might never find your way back to your original universe, your past, or your identity. This theory suggests that black holes aren't just cosmic obliteration machines, they might be doorways to uncharted realms of existence. So, black holes offer a tantalizing hint at the possibility of other realities waiting to be explored. 10. Gavin. The story of Gavin was posted by a Redditor which goes as follows. Gavin was a socially awkward yet brilliant individual. United by their love for the game World of Warcraft, they became friends. They spent their days gaming, watching YouTube, and playing chess. All was well until the day our narrator decided to visit Gavin unannounced. When he knocked on Gavin's door, he was greeted by a man who looked much older, around 40, and oddly resembled Gavin. Puzzled, he assumed this was a relative or perhaps an uncle. But when he inquired about Gavin's whereabouts, the stranger's uneasy reaction raised questions. The older man claimed to be Gavin, which left our narrator confused. He returned to the time Gavin was supposed to be home and found him there. To his surprise, Gavin had no knowledge of any relatives matching the description. It was like an older Gavin from the future had temporarily stepped into their reality. If it's true, then it's possible that we all have our own parallel universe self out there. That's all. Share your views or weirdest stories down below, I'm intrigued to hear them.